some US based AI leaders are now speaking up louder than ever about the need for America to win the AI war against China. So, the most notable example of this is Alexander Wang, the founder and CEO at Scale AI, which is a major data platform company that's used by a lot of companies building AI, took out a full page ad in the Washington Post the day after President Donald Trump was inaugurated, titled literally, "Dear President Trump, America must win the AI war." This ad linked to a letter from Wang to Trump that is published on the Scale AI website, and it outlines a 5-point plan to maintain US leadership in AI. And while that is generally, leading all the countries, it's especially focused on China. Wang warns that the Chinese government, quote, outspends the US government by about 10 times on AI implementation and adoption. So his proposed strategy centers on a fundamental restructuring of how the US government approaches AI development. He says that there's a critical misalignment in current government spending where 90% of investments focus on algorithms, contrary to what's actually a best practice in the industry, which is allocating resources across three pillars: compute at about 60%, data at about 30%, and algorithms at about 10%. The plan also calls for 5 specific actions in the administration's first 100 days. Beyond realigning those AI investments, Wang advocates for building an AI ready workforce, with projections suggesting AI could create 50 million new jobs by 2030. He also emphasizes the need to modernize federal agencies' AI capabilities by 2027. And he notes that while the US government is the world's largest data producer, it's not effectively leveraging this advantage. And the proposal also addresses two critical infrastructure challenges: energy and regulation. He calls for an aggressive national energy plan to support AI's substantial power demands, while simultaneously advocating for a balanced regulatory framework that ensures safety without hampering innovation. So, Paul, it is not news that there's a brewing AI arms race between the US and China, but based on the DeepSeek news, it seems that this is now at the forefront of everyone's mind. Is the US falling behind? How critical is this scenario?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of charts in the last week or so on, how much China's built out in energy and infrastructure. Um, yeah, so you and I both read AI Superpowers by Kai-Fu Lee years
Yeah.
ago. I think anybody who wants to understand the dynamics here, because they are becoming very important and starting to become reality. So AI Superpowers, the subtitle is China, Silicon Valley, and the New World Order. Kai-Fu Lee was the former president of Google China, and now he runs a venture fund in China. Um, so he knows what he's talking about. And so he tweeted just yesterday, I think this was, in my book AI Superpowers, I predicted that US will lead breakthroughs, but China will be better and faster in engineering. Many people simplified that to be China will beat US, and many claimed I was wrong with Gen AI. With the recent DeepSeek releases, I feel vindicated.
Hmm.
So it is exactly what he laid out in his book, that US will drive innovation. We will build the data centers. We will build the biggest models. We will have the breakthroughs in memory and reasoning and all these things. Like, that is what we do in America. And China will very quickly follow and improve on them. And that is what has always happened in innovation for decades. And he said AI was going to be no different. And the other thing that China has going for them is they don't have the civil rights around, like, privacy and data
Mhm.
usage of civilians and things like that. So they're going to use all the data. One of the big question marks was always, would they allow a large language model to exist? Like, would they allow something that could talk about the actual history of Tiananmen Square? Like, would they let something like that exist? And the answer seems to be yes, that they will. And if they're going to do that, it definitely creates a whole lot of new wrinkles in this. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know if we have a better name for, like, US China war. I don't really like referring it to like that, but it is an AI war for sure,
Yeah.
and it's going to be fought on a lot of different levels. Um, and sometimes we're not going to know that that's what's happening, and we may find out years later that that's what things were and how it all played out. But Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people listen to Wang. Scale AI is a very important company. They work. You can't even like step back and say, okay, so Alexander works with Sam Altman and OpenAI, but he doesn't like Elon Musk. Like, no, they all work with them. Like
Yeah.
Meta uses them. I'm sure Elon uses them. Like they're a critical component of the data infrastructure that trains these models. And so people do listen to him, and I think that I'm sure that this, letter to the president has been seen, and I think there's elements of it that I certainly agree with, and I think it'll be fascinating to see how this all plays out. But this is going to be a major ongoing news thing. This is not going away. This is going to only grow in importance.
Yeah, I think we talked about a bit last year. There were all these scenarios where we could see AI becoming this like hot button political issue, and it kind
Yep.
of didn't really hit right away. But now this is
I saw
certainly
that.
one area.
I had the same thought last night when I was like scanning through, getting ready for today.
Yeah.
That we were saying, like, up until November, how, like, AI just didn't play a role in the election. It wasn't really talked about as a campaign item, and then day 1, it's all that's talked about. Like, it is, like, I mean,
Yeah.
not all, there's obviously immigration, a bunch of other stuff going on, but it became very obvious day 1, minute 1, that AI was fundamental to the administration.